What's going on, everybody? Today I wanted to make a video talking about the opportunities there are here in Thailand for expats coming over wanting to live here, work here, and possibly start businesses. So really, there are things that you can do, although they are a little bit more limited than obviously your country of origin, because any time that you leave your own country and you want to work in another place, there's implications that are involved, such as visas, work permits, business license, and making sure that you're in good legal status with the government to be working there. But with that being said, there are a couple different things that you can do if you're considering moving over to Thailand, or maybe I'll talk about some other Southeastern countries too, of what you can do. Now, to tell you guys a little bit about my knowledge, I've lived in Thailand for about 10 years on and off. I went to high school here partially. My dad worked in Thailand. And I've worked for companies outside of the United States. So I feel like I have a decent amount of knowledge where I can talk on this subject a little bit. So let's first of all get into the things that there are available for you guys to do. And really, on the top of my head, there's really three main ones I could kind of think of. The first one is TEFL, which would be teaching English to foreign language students. That is probably the biggest one. When you think of people leaving their own countries and going to other countries, that's probably the biggest one people do that are from America, the United Kingdom, Australia. People who speak English as their first language natively. The second thing that I see people increasingly doing here a lot in Thailand, and I certainly have a lot of interest in it myself, is digital nomad work, freelancing a little bit, people who basically make their money online. And that's an interesting topic that I'm trying to learn more about. But that is definitely one, especially here in Bangkok, there is a huge community of digital nomads. And then the third one is people that come here and start businesses here in Thailand. So let's go ahead and talk about TEFL, because it's the area that I have the most experience and knowledge in. I have my TEFL certificate from the UK. I went to a British international school here in Thailand, and I've known a lot of people and have a lot of connections in the TEFL sphere. So right off the bat, Thailand is actually not as easy as many other Southeastern Asian countries to teach English in. And there's really two reasons for that. The first reason is Thailand, as of right now, is the most competitive market for Westerners to come in and teach, because Thailand is it's all over the social media platforms right now. It really blew up. Even when I first got here to Thailand, I have a video talking about how much Thailand has changed. And hearing from my dad, from him working in Thailand in the 2000s, Thailand has changed completely as far as the Westerners here. It's blown up. So you simply you're not the white monkey is the term they use in the ESL language. The white monkey doesn't exist anymore in Thailand, of having that kind of white privilege card like it really does in a lot of these countries. And also, guys, to cut to the chase, these countries aren't woke. You know, when you're talking about Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, Malaysia, you guys have to forgive me, because this isn't like America. Wokeness does not exist here. So I apologize for using these terms, but it is what it is. It's a different world over here, guys, really. And if you have that woke mindset, I encourage you to do your research before you come to some of these countries, especially when you go to Vietnam, if you want to go to China, Eastern Asia. This culture doesn't exist here, guys. So yeah, the first part of why it's difficult is because it's very, very competitive, and the second part is in Thailand now they do require a college degree, and so many other countries are much more lenient on this. The TEFL, I'm going to be honest with you guys, the TEFL space has a lot of gray area. I would advise someone who's getting involved in TEFL to go through an agency, and certainly it's not like America where everything's set in stones. There's different ways, I'll say this, there's different ways to interpret the law in Asia. It's not as black as white. So if you if you don't have a degree, you might still be able to work here in Thailand through an agency. I think if you're a teaching assistant, maybe you can get a job. What I'm trying to tell you guys though is if you want to teach English here in Thailand, I would recommend either doing it online somehow or going to Vietnam or another country, because it's just too saturated here. So that's my ESL spiel. It certainly can work. I'm not trying to sway you guys away from it, but I just want to be transparent with you guys up front about the TEFL space here, and it's really, really blowing up. If you look at some countries like Vietnam or China, some of these other countries are much more lucrative for that industry. Okay, so let's get on to number 2, which is digital nomads. Now, if you are a digital nomad and you already have a income coming in, I think it would be a great decision for you to come to Bangkok. And the reason why is because of the networking here. The moderately low cost, it's not as low as it used to be, but it's still relatively cheap here in Thailand compared to America. And just simply, you're going to be living a lifestyle that's starting to kind of be constructed around digital nomads, especially in cities like Bangkok, where they're really trying to make visas and make it easier for digital nomads to come here. So that's definitely a space here in Bangkok that is good if you already have something. And also, if you don't have something, there's a lot of people here that you can network with where maybe you can get something going. So that is certainly an option. I think there's a couple cities around the world that are really big on digital nomads, and Bangkok is certainly got to be one of the biggest hubs for digital nomads here. And then the third one is starting a business or investments here in Bangkok, or in Thailand in general. Now, Thailand is a country that is very open, especially right now, to foreign investors. And so certainly I've known people who have started American restaurants here, and they've been extremely successful. So I would say if you're a person that has some capital, and certainly, again, if you want to get involved with this, 100% make sure you get consultancy, because like I said, here in Thailand, they interpret laws much differently than we do in the West. And you might have a great idea, but if you don't know the ins and outs, it can be an absolute disaster. And a lot of these countries here in Southeast Asia are like that. You really need to make sure that you have someone who can vouch for you and consult you in doing the right things here in business. So guys, those are 3 options that I see a lot of people here in Southeast Asia, Thailand specifically, doing as foreigners for income. If you guys have any comments, questions, suggestions, please leave them in the comments, and I will catch you guys next time. Thank you.